Welcome to this next tutorial. We're going to be having a look at conducting an internal analysis on your organization. This is a very important part of the strategic planning process. And every organization, before embarking on creating a strategic plan, should definitely create or do some exercises around an internal analysis. There are many different exercises and analysis that you can do. We prefer to use a model called the 3 C's, and I'm going to explain that now. The 3 C's stands for concept, competence, and commitment. And effectively what this does is it has a look inside your organization and allows you to conceptualize, what is the concept? Where are we going as an organization? Do others know where we're going? Are we headed in the same direction? Is there alignment with regards to where it is that we're going? So it's the bigger picture. Do we all know where we're going within our organization? The next C is competence. And this speaks to some of the technical skills, some of the resource skills. Do we have the right people in order to achieve what we need to achieve? In order to excel on our concept, do we have the right skills? Do we have the right resources? Do we have the right tools? And finally, the commitment. Are we all committed to the plan? What are the levels of morale within the organization? Are we all living the values? How do we work together? And are we excelling? Or do we need to improve? What I would like to do is, you can see that this tripod has a 0 to 100 rating. So if you were 50% of the way along in terms of your concept, I would like to give yourself a 50%. If you were 30%, etc., etc. And what I would like you to do on an individual basis, now you may be doing the strategic plan with others, you may be doing it on your own. On an individual basis, I would like everybody, please, in their workbooks to find the template which has the concept, competencies, and commitment, and I would like you to peg your organization, and it's very much a gut feel as to where you think you lie from 0 to 100. So if you thought your concept, this is where you're going as an organization, is fairly low, and others don't have an idea as to where they're going, you might peg it at 30. This is 0, this is 100, and you might choose to put a mark there. Similarly, on your competencies, you might decide that you've actually got a lot of the good people and a lot of the tools and a lot of the resources in place. You're a lot further down the scale as in concept, and you might peg yourself at 70% of the way there. And then on commitment, you might find that there are committed people in your organization and others that aren't so committed, and you might find that 40% is a marking. So I'd like you each to individually do this. Now, if you're doing it in a group, you're obviously all going to have slightly different figures. So this is an example of somebody else within your organization who has pegged the concept at 50%. And perhaps they're in management, or they're a little bit closer to the vision and where things are going, and they are involved in that process. So theirs might be slightly higher. Perhaps in terms of competencies, they don't think, knowing where we're going, they don't think that they have the right resources and tools in order to get there. So theirs might be slightly lower. And then in terms of commitment, well, you can see that there seems to be a similar type of commitment and feeling about the commitment in the organization, and that's pegged at 40. So what I'd like you to do after you've done these gut feels and drawings of your own is to get together in a group, if you're working in a group. If you're working on your own, that's fine. You are the representation for the organization. Get together, and what you're going to find is you will then need to compare the triangles that come out. Now, in some cases, they may be very similar, and in other cases, there may be some differences, as in this case. And what I would like you to do is to start discussing and agreeing what that mutual marker should be for the organization. So in this case, after some discussion, we have agreed to put this down at 30% in terms of our concept. In terms of our competencies, we have agreed at 60%, and then in terms of our commitment, we have agreed at 40%. Now, you guys have done this as a group. I would like you to actually ideally get a flip chart and draw it out on a large flip chart in order to peg it, because what we're going to be doing in the next part of it, whether you're on your own or in a group, is we're going to be talking about what are the things that will increase our percentage of 60 in terms of competencies closer to 100. What can we do and start doing and address in order to move our concept from 30% closer to that 100%? And then finally, what can we do around commitment in order to move that mark of 40% closer to 100. And you can see, we've just dotted some ideas down, and we would like you to bullet point those things that will work within your organization. But to get you started, we've said, for example, if we started having more way ahead meetings within the organization, if we started communicating that vision, not just from a senior management level, but maybe perhaps down to the lower levels of the organization, or to everybody in the organization, by having an induction program or a biannual review, you can see that these things, if conducted, would start to push that percentage point closer to 100% in terms of the concept. Then in terms of the competencies, remember that we said this was around your people, your tools, the things that you can have an effect on, such as upgrading a computer system, maybe one of the points. Streamlining processes. You may need to recruit some talent that you don't have in order for you guys to become more competent. So you're going to list those things. There may be an MVP program, some training, some hard and some soft stuff. And then finally, on the commitment side, you might need to do get up and go meetings, have mission-directed workforce groups, etc., etc. There might be some elements of doing some socializing within the company itself in order to get that level of morale up and get people committed to the overall job. So what I would like you to do on your flip chart is I would like you to draw those out, bullet point these along, and this is very much going to be something that you paste up in the area where you're working or in your office, because you're going to be referring to this. When we start to build your strategies, you're very much going to be taking some of these points into consideration in order to build your strategies. So as you'll see in the workbook, we're going to leave you with these sorts of things that you can use as a guiding process, and some questions to help you remember what the concept, what the competence, and what the commitment are. And then what you need to do is do it individually, then get together, and this process could take the better part of an hour to discuss. And there's some very rich content and detail that starts to come out. But the most important thing is to capture this and to put it up in the environment where you're going to be building your strategic planning, because this will very much be something that drip feeds into the process throughout all of this. So we will end this video tutorial and look forward to joining you on the creation of the vision.